Home alone. The bright light coming from a television screen filled my eyes, still barely open. The couch and my fuzzy blue blanket felt warm and cozy wrapped around me. Apart from the TV screen, the only light that enlivened the dark, shadowy living room was the moonlight coming through the windows. I turned down the volume of the TV. Now I could hear the sound of crickets chirping, and the smell of wet grass took over the room where I now stood, still wrapped in my blanket. I looked around, only to see darkness and a small gap between the curtains that let the light from the front porch escape and invade the cold room. The fuzzy carpet tickled my feet as I walked toward the curtains with the intention to close them, as Mom had told me before she left with Dad to go to the movies. But when I reached the window, I noticed the light wasn't coming from my front porch, but from my neighbor's. In fact, it was the only one visible on the street. And the light wasn't only being let in by the gap in the curtain, but also by the window itself, half open. Mom must have forgotten to close this one, I thought to myself as I locked it. The sound of a door slamming echoed from the second floor of the house. I immediately reached out to the light switch beside the front door, and with trembling fingers pushed it down. Nothing. The house remained as dark as the deepest void in space. Another thought rushed through my mind. But how does my neighbor have his porch light on? Not wanting to believe that, I walked to the next closest switch. Nothing once again. My hand slipped over my pants as I looked for a pocket that usually held my phone that had a flashlight. Then I remembered. I hadn't slept with my phone on the couch. I had left it upstairs in my bedroom. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps towards the endless carpeted staircase. When I finally made it to the second floor, I saw the only closed door was the one in my mom and dad's room at the end of the corridor. Now I could hear the sound of my own beating heart, loud inside my chest. As the carpeted floor changed to wood, and I dragged my feet into my parents' room, a new sound called my attention. The quiet sound of drops of water hitting the ground in the closed bathroom to my left. I ignored the sound of drops as I continued to drag my feet and walk deeper into my parents' room. Everything was normal. No unusual smell, except for the terrible odor of my dad's perfume, which had grown stronger since he had left with my mom. No sound, except for the quiet drops that fell to the ground in the bathroom. No change at all in the perfectly organized room my parents kept. I was standing in the middle of the room at this point, and as my feet were about to move in the direction of the dark corridor where I had come from, I felt something drip onto my shoulder. I looked over, but the moonlight wasn't enough to help my eyes see the liquid, so I instinctively looked up. A sharp scream escaped my mouth to the sight of my mother, whose body, somehow stuck to the ceiling, dripped blood from the wide, deep gash on her throat. The blood oozed slowly but heavily and stained the carpet right behind my feet. Terrified, I flung open the bathroom door and ran in as fast as I could. As I desperately looked for the switch in the pitch-black room, I heard the sound of the drops start once again. As thoughts started flowing back into my mind, through the corner of my eye, in the middle of the darkness, I saw a shadow. Practically frozen and unable to run back out the door, I turned and faced the mirror. But before I could open my mouth and cry for help, the dark silhouette standing behind me covered my mouth with its cold, bony hands.